Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. Today we're discussing the Cartier Pasha GMT Power Reserve. You can see this 1990s tritium-dialed complicated Cartier Pasha and purchase it on our website. Subscribe to our YouTube channel if you enjoy these videos, and please click on the card in the upper right-hand corner of the screen at any time during this video to see our full sales listing for this watch, with additional accessories included in the sale, high-resolution images, and naturally, complete pricing details for this complicated Cartier Pasha. Now, on my wrist, 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, you can see that this watch has one leg in two worlds. One being that of tradition. The Cartier Pasha, originally created in 1933 for the Pasha of Marrakesh, was one of the very first sporting references, and this watch, the more traditionally sized of two iterations of the GMT model, is 38 millimeters compared to the latter 42. So while not strictly traditional in its size, it's more traditional in size. And then there is modernity, the idea of the luxury watch, and with its display caseback, unidirectional rotating dive bezel, its power reserve, date window, and second time zone, it is very much a modern luxury watch, and every square millimeter a Cartier. So let's talk about the measurements. Obviously, 38 millimeters is the case size, not inclusive of the canteen crown assembly. In terms of thickness, quite simply, it isn't. 10 millimeters thick, it's nice and slim. With a generously sloped conical bezel, it easily slides underneath a dress cuff, so as any Cartier should be able to do, it wears well with formal attire and tight sleeves. Now, from lug to lug, it's quite tidy. While hinge lugs can often add a great deal of wrist span, this one has a versatile 45 millimeter lug-to-lug dimension, so it will wear easily on a smaller wrist like mine. My wrist's 16 centimeters in circumference, but this watch could be worn securely on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters in circumference in my estimation. Now, it feels very solid, not hefty, not an impromptu weight program as are many contemporary sports watches, but it feels solidly evolved from the early days of Cartier dress watches. This has a firm foot, as I mentioned, in the era of modernity and luxury watches, and it's built accordingly. The bracelet is beautifully tapered, but it does have substance to it. It features a contrasting pairing of H-section links with intermediates that are high polished. Now you can see that the H-section links are all of a satin finish, and the intermediates in high polish add a little bit of differentiation. A Cartier that has a multi-tonal look without going two-tone gold and steel. Now you can see that there is a taper to the bracelet too, so it has an aesthetic elegance. And it's paired with a double deployant clasp. Here you can see this one is friction fit, so it's not perhaps the hardiest of sports watches. This one is designed for getting wet in polite company, perhaps falling off the deck of a yacht or hamming it up at the pool at the club. But make no mistake, with 100-meter water resistance, this one does have the credentials to get wet and wild. And one of the nice features of this clasp, because it is so low in profile thanks to the absence of any trigger mechanism or clamshell, is that when closed, it's very much like the Rolex crown clasp in that, just like the President bracelet, there's really no cue as to the partition point, and it blends in beautifully. Now, the watch itself, as I mentioned, is a combination of features. With a unidirectional rotating bezel, you have the ability to line up the index with the minute hand to create an impromptu 0 to 60-minute chronograph, timing intervals between meetings, the kids' time out, fish tacos on the grill, or anything you like. Now you can see there's a railroad-style minutes and seconds track outboard of the broadsword-style blued hands. Now the dial is an original tritium dial from the mid-1990s. Prior to 2000, Cartier used this form of luminescence, and over time it ages and creates a beautiful patina. So while no longer brilliant in the dark, it is beautiful in the light. The watch has a sort of medium silver, almost off-white silver. It has a richer tone to it than a conventional silver guilloche dial, but the guilloche is deep and beautiful, and it creates a diversity of effects as you move it through the light. It's a very dynamic dial with a unique tone, the warmth of tritium, the cheerful color of those blue hands, and the complications that are beautifully allayed along a central axis. You have a second time zone, which can be set to a reference time, that is the time where you are not, for keeping touch with far-flung family, friends, and business connections, and also for avoiding those 4 a.m. wake-up calls. You can set the reference time to match the time at center when you don't need a second time zone, and it can act as an AM-PM distinction. Now, there is a power reserve scale at 6 o'clock, and the Girard-Perregaux-based caliber 480 in this watch has almost all of a 50-hour power reserve, approximately 46 to 48. And you can see with a relatively short power reserve, when you wind the watch, you get the instant gratification of seeing the power reserve scale move in real time. And of course, a diversity of finish. You have stylized Arabic numerals at 9 and 3, balanced against a geosphere-style guilloche with concentric circular hour track at 12 o'clock. Frankly, there's a lot going on, and it's beautifully balanced, with a gorgeous vintage vibe. Now, the watch has a Cartier customized Girard-Perregaux caliber 3100, 30 joules automatic 46-hour power reserve, heavily customized from an aesthetic standpoint. The finish here is solidly a class above what you'll see on a standard Girard-Perregaux 3000, 3100, or 3300, so you are getting an extra level of invested quality. Now, it has hacking seconds, it has a quick set function for the date, a second time zone, a modern 4 Hz beat rate, and of course, it has this tiny little crown beneath the canteen. More on that in a moment. But when you pull it out, you can, and it does put up a little bit of a fight, hack the balance, stop the seconds, and now synchronize the watch precisely to a known accurate reference time. It's also an extremely thin caliber and considered to be part of the haute de gamme of Swiss horology, so this one has the heart of a champion and a timeless aesthetic. It also has the famed canteen, one of the original solutions to water resistance in watches featured on the original Pasha. It's held in place by a chain link and features the signature blue sapphire Cartier cabochon. Beautiful, elegant, versatile, a modern-day classic. You can see this Cartier Pasha GMT Power Reserve 38mm in stainless steel and purchase it on our website.